A young pilot has lost his life while flying a single-pilot IFR flight into known icing conditions in a twin-commander aircraft here in Southern California over the weekend near Cajon Pass while attempting to build up his 1,500 hours minimum requirement to get on with the airlines. Here's what we know so far. Let's check it out. It's been a very cold, wet spring here in California this year. This accident occurred on Saturday, the 13th of April, and there's a cutoff low off of the coast of California, pumping moisture into Southern California as well. This accident occurred in the Banning Pass area just north of Los Angeles, and this cutoff low was pumping that moisture from the south right up against the hills there near Cajon Pass at the time of this accident. Starting with the Aviation Safety Network, Gulfstream 695 Jet Prop Commander 1000, November 965 Bravo Charlie. Just one pilot on board, one fatality. While on approach, the departure airport was Stockton, California. Destination airport was Chino, California, home of the Planes of Fame Flight Museum. A Gulfstream 695A Prop Commander 1000 impacted mountainous terrain in San Bernardino, California. The sole pilot perished and the aircraft was destroyed. The pilot was flying the Ziggy 7 Standard Terminal Arrival Procedure, the STAR, to Chino Airport. The aircraft suffered 2 altitude deviations, which the pilot attributed to a problem with the autopilot. We have the ATC audio, more on that in a minute. Towards the end of the flight, the airplane descended below the minimum vectoring altitude of 7,400 feet and was issued an altitude alert by the controller, but there was no response from 65 Bravo Charlie. ADS-B data indicated the aircraft entered a rapid descent and had an average rate of about 10,000 feet per minute rate of descent at the last recorded point. Weather at Chino about the time of the accident: winds 260 at 9 knots, 10 miles of visibility, then down to 3 miles visibility, light rain, and scattered to few at 700 feet, broken at 2,900, overcast at 3,500 feet. But the temperature dew point spread, 9 degrees Celsius with a dew point of minus 0.1 degrees Celsius. With a standard wet adiabatic lapse rate of about 3 degrees Celsius per 1,000 feet, that puts him in icing conditions starting as low as 3,000 to 4,000 feet above the field elevation here at Chino. The pilot was flying this Ziggy 7 arrival for vectors to the ILS 26 right at Chino. This Ziggy 7 arrival brings you in from the Mojave side, the dry side of the terrain here in Southern California, and brings you into this point called Nitty, I believe it is, where you then cross the mountains in an effort to get onto the ILS here at Chino. With this weather boiling up from the south and the cold temperatures and the temperature dew point spread, that puts them in very dry air here over the Mojave Desert, then poof, instantly into powerful icing conditions as he attempts to cross these mountains with that minimum vectoring altitude of 7,400 feet to stay clear of the terrain before they can let him down safely into the lower terrain to the south of the mountains. The live ATC audio recording of the actual flight was recorded and published here by Avocado Flight on his YouTube channel. Avocado has been part of the live ATC community since 2005, sharing these clips, so support his channel. At the start of this video, you can see the weather streaming up from the south from this cutoff low.
Charlie with you, 17.5, descending 14,000, cross flavor.
Number 965, Bravo Charlie, SoCal approach, the on-tail 23005, information Victor, turn, expect ILS runway 26 right.
Contact the ILS, I got Victor, 965, Bravo Charlie.
No sign of any trouble whatsoever at this point.
November 5, Bravo Charlie, verify you're on the Ziggy arrival?
Yes, sir, my autopilot just kicked off in some turbulence. I'm correct.
Already beginning to have problems with the autopilot. Not only is icing conditions a problem, but as you transition from the Mojave Desert over the mountains into the LA Basin, turbulence is a huge problem as these two air masses are colliding.
5, Bravo Charlie, Roger, descend to maintain 12,000.
12,000, Bravo Charlie.
November 5, Bravo Charlie, would it be easier for you if you just got vectors?
That's okay, I'm correcting to get back on here.
Roger.
Take what he's offering you. Take the vectors. It's a single pilot IFR operation in a multi-engine aircraft. He's fairly new to the aircraft. You need all the help you can get.
Center 5 Bravo Charlie, SoCal.
Go ahead for Bravo Charlie.
Yeah, report of icing about past Nitty by a Mitsubishi at 8,500. You couldn't tell the type or the intensity, but +5.
Is that pretty good here? I've got about moderate rime here at 12,000, and the temperature is -8.
5 Bravo Charlie, Roger. Do you want to try lower now, or what do you think? What do you want to do?
Yeah, if I can get lower here, that'd be great.
5 Bravo Charlie, your discretion to set to maintain 8,000.
My discretion down to 8,000, Bravo Charlie.
Okay, he's going to take the option to get the lower altitude, good call, but he's got the autopilot on. He's in light rime icing or moderate rime icing with the autopilot on. The icing is building up on the aircraft. The problem with icing on the aircraft is it's altering the aerodynamics of the aircraft, it's altering the weight of the aircraft, it's altering the center of pressure, the center of gravity, and it's increasing the stall speed, and the autopilot is going to have a hard time, it's going to struggle keeping up with these trim changes in the aircraft. And if you leave the autopilot on, you will be unaware of these trim changes to the aircraft. And the autopilot can only hang on for so long before it's going to kick off in an out-of-trim condition.
Evening. Approach United 1574 out of 13. Sending via the Jackie.
United 1574 SoCal, Ontario, altimeter 3005, expect the ILS 26 right.
Roger.
Charlie, what was the outside air temperature again?
It was -8 degrees Celsius for Bravo Charlie.
United 1574, reports of at least moderate rime, but you're 12 to 1 o'clock and 50 by commander. That's 12,000 outside air temperature -8.
All right, thank you, sir.
5 Bravo Charlie, does it improving at all with the descent?
It does, for 965 Bravo Charlie.
Okay, it's smoothing out. The turbulence is smoothing out. Here comes United Airlines up here from the upper right. From the Truckee accident, we got a lot of comments of how come icing is different on turboprop aircraft than airline aircraft. Because turboprop and light twin aircraft are in the icing conditions the entire time. They are much slower, they are much lower, and they are stuck in the icing conditions for a much lower time. In airlines, we're able to just quickly climb and descend through the icing conditions and get well above or below the icing conditions before it even becomes a factor. Plus, we're traveling faster. We've got more ram, higher airspeed, ramming through the ice, so to speak, increasing the temperature slightly. Plus, we've got increasing the temperature slightly on the surface of the skin of the aircraft. Plus, we've got excellent bleed air anti-icing equipment on board the aircraft, which quickly dissipates the ice. So a icing report from one type of aircraft may mean something completely different to another type of aircraft.
5 Bravo Charlie, descent to maintain 7,400.
7,400 Bravo Charlie.
Commander 5 Bravo Charlie, flying 185 vectors for the final approach course, and I'll have lower in just a few more miles.
Roger, turning 185 Bravo Charlie.
He can't offer him any lower because he's over that high terrain. That's the minimum vectoring altitude to remain above the mountains, which is right in the heart of the icing conditions.
Finally, just want to make sure, Chino, Victor current, Ontario, altimeter 3005.
I'm sorry, say that one more time for Bravo Charlie. My autopilot's acting up here, turning me around.
Okay, that's it. You've got to fly the aircraft. You have to turn the autopilot off in these icing conditions because now the icing conditions is beginning to overwhelm the autopilot of the aircraft, and he's allowing it to happen. And it's basically already too late.
Okay, Commander 5 Bravo Charlie, and are you able to turn back to the left yet?
Turn it back.
5 Bravo Charlie, and I'll show you 7,200, I maintain 7,400, my MBA in that area is 7,400. It looks like you're losing altitude rapidly. So alpha alert, Commander 5 Bravo Charlie, check your altitude immediately. Commander 965 Bravo Charlie, SoCal.
And that's the last we hear of 5 Bravo Charlie. If we look at the last couple of data points here on FlightAware.com, you can see all the trouble began and ended in the last 60 seconds of the flight. The flight was proceeding normally at altitude, descending, and then right about, he was given the vector to 185 degrees and that min vectoring altitude, and right here at 11:17:48 p.m. he descends below his min vectoring altitude and continues the turn to the right beyond his 185 heading. The rate of descent picks up to 857 feet per minute, to 5,000 feet per minute, to 10,000 feet per minute, nearly straight down, with a ground speed continually decreasing. If we transfer that KML data to Google Earth, we can see just how quickly this aircraft dropped out of the sky. And if we look at it vertically, the aircraft just nearly came just about straight down. Very low forward ground speed because of most of the speed is in vertical speed. It is not indicative of a large spiral turn that you see more likely with a spatial disorientation situation. We have a number of young pilots building time at an unprecedented rate. When you're less than 300 hours time and type of a new aircraft, you are in the classic killing zone. You do not know what you don't know. And this sort of insidious icing condition happens in a very short amount of time and over a very short distance as well. If you leave the autopilot on while you're in icing conditions, you're just asking for trouble. You'd need to turn the autopilot off so you can feel the trim of the aircraft and keep up with the changes of the trim of the aircraft before losing control of the aircraft. Thank you so much for your support of this channel, especially the folks over on Patreon that make this content possible. See you here.